Hello, this is Rick Saltarelli with Salty Breeze Cruise Planners with this week's segment of Beyond Your Front Door. And today I have with me Carmen Gashnikov, who is a representative with a company called Europe Express. Carmen, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Rick.
So I appreciate that you coming on, and why don't you tell us about your journey in the travel industry to get you to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So it's been about 15 years that I started in the travel industry. Funny for a lot of us that are in the industry, that's not a whole lot, but it feels like a lot to me. I actually started in the hotel side as a front desk agent while I was completing my hospitality and convention management degree. So it's definitely been a fun adventure from reservations, event coordinator, convention planning, all that good stuff. And then about 7 years ago, I jumped into the wholesale side as a territory business developer manager, which it's still what I am doing as the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic BDM. So I help travel advisors like yourself grow their business and partnership, which is where I am right now with Europe Express.
And thank you for sharing that with us. So 15 years is a great length of time, comes with a lot of experience. And Europe Express is one of those companies that really are kind of in the background. So our clients would not know who you are, but you're very instrumental in helping us plan vacations for clients because you can bundle together the airfare and the accommodations, and if they want to take trains, and then any excursions they want to do while they're in country. So it's a very important piece for us as travel advisors when we're planning vacations for people. Would you have anything to add to that little summation of who Europe Express is?
Yeah, absolutely, Rick. And like you said, not many out there would know who we are because we are dedicated solely to travel advisors like yourself. We don't sell to the end consumer. So we're kind of behind the scenes helping agencies like yours kind of find the best resources, the best that there is out there for adventure for your clients and putting that perfect itinerary. Our name really does give it away. We specialize in Europe. That's what our specialty is, building those custom itinerary packages with the expertise and experience that you as a travel advisor has to put all build together the air, the hotels, the transfers, the adventure sightseeing, rail, you name it, a little bit of everything, just so we can help you build that perfect adventure for your clients.
Sure. And then I'll just add to that that one of the reasons we like using a company like yours is because you have contracted pricing with some of the companies in Europe, which we could never have on an individualized basis. And so the beneficiary of that is really our clients because they're getting a better price for especially those great accommodations that everybody wants.
Exactly, exactly.
And so we've already said that you really specialize in Europe. And why do you think that Europe is so popular with North Americans right now?
Well, it's funny you say that because I recently found out not too long ago. We've had a little time on our hands, right, this past few months. So we've all been doing a lot of research and learning. And I found out that over 85% of Americans, they enjoy going to Europe for their vacations. And it used to be, I want to say maybe 20, 30 years ago, Europe used to be like the honeymoon, the romantic destination. And nowadays it's become so much more than that. It's just not for your typical honeymoon or romance. It's for that adventurous person or for that family that's looking into maybe their roots and they want to find out a little bit more. It's about a girl's trip. It's about a mom and a daughter going together. It's become so much more. And it's become just, a little bit of everything. A lot of the destinations that I find to be really popular, although Europe now has become from head to toe popular in every destination, but Italy is, of course, number one, right? I think it will never lose that place. no matter what. But France as well, Spain, Netherlands has become absolutely amazing in the past couple years, as well as Germany. And that's just to mention a few because we know Europe is just never ending.
Yeah, it is truly an amazing place to visit. And I agree with you on Italy. We've been several times, and a lot of people go and they visit Rome, Florence, and Venice, and they think they've seen Italy. But
And that's it. It's not.
yeah, there is so much more to see, and that's just Italy. There's the same can be said for any other country in Europe. There's so much to see, so much to experience, and we can do that with what we call off the beaten.
Mhm.
Those are trips we plan with Europe Express. And the market is so different over there, isn't it? Because accommodations are different, and train travel or rail travel is a big part of traveling in Europe, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. The adventure is really what you make it in Europe, and traveling in train in Europe is extremely common and part of the experience. So it's not just simply seen as transportation, like we might see it here in the States. And that's the same with the hotels. We might see it as, or many people here in the US might see it as just a bed, right? And many of us do, even when we're traveling, depending on the type of travel that you're doing to Europe. But for many, is that beautiful bed and breakfast, that castle, that experience. And the train is just exactly that. It becomes part of that beauty. And that reminds me of my trip last year. And I took the train and it was just the scenic, beautiful. So it almost felt like a sightseeing while I was transporting from one city to the other.
And so I'm going to ask you a question that may sound a little odd coming from me because I sell cruises and we love cruising. It's a great experience. But for somebody going to Europe, there's a compelling reason why they would want to consider doing a land vacation versus a cruise vacation. So I'd like to have your perspective on that as well. What do you think?
Well, I would say that whichever you choose, just make sure to make it, take advantage of it and make it an adventure and make it your own unique experience. So if you are doing a cruise, make it more than just that cruise. Enjoy the pre and post destinations where you're going to be. Either arriving a couple days earlier or maybe extending it at the end. You're making this trip to the other side of the globe, right? So what not make it that best experience you possibly can. So I don't feel like you have to choose one or another. If you want to do that cruise, do it, but still enjoy those destinations where you're going to be boarding and arriving later on.
That's a great answer. And I'm just going to add to that because we're so accustomed in North America to cruising out of a port city that we're very familiar with. So we don't think about that city as being part of the destination. But in Europe, if you are cruising out of Rome or Civitavecchia and sailing and then getting off the ship in Barcelona, if you don't spend a few days in Rome ahead of time or time in Barcelona after the cruise, you're not seeing two of the most beautiful cities to go and visit.
No, I don't really think you can say you were in Rome if you don't do that. Just because you're boarding the cruise and that destination, you're doing a disservice to yourself. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So if you're planning a cruise, make sure you add a few days on before and after to see some other parts of the country in depth. And if you're going on a land vacation, of course, we can help you with that as well.
Absolutely.
So, do you have a favorite destination for first time visitors to Europe? These are the people that just may ask, I don't care where I go, I just want to have a great vacation. Do you have
Well,
top of mind ideas?
this is a hard one because I definitely have a lot. But I would say trust on your travel advisor to guide you in building that perfect itinerary. You go to your travel advisor for a reason, right? Their experience, what they bring to the table, and making that the best trip you're taking. But on your first visit to Europe, you usually want to do everything in that one trip and squeeze it all. And I'm telling you from experience, but that's usually not the best thing to do. I understand that there's excitement. I did the same when I did my first trip. So I would say make a bucket list, which destination, try to, cross those as the years come. Like you said earlier, to Italy, a lot of, there's so much, but you can't really do it all. So trust in your travel advisor. That's my advice for first time travelers to Europe. Don't try to embark it all in one. Although you can, I'm not going to say that it's not possible because obviously I was one of those people that did it. But I then wish I was like, you know what? Rome was actually one of my first destinations, and I don't regret it whatsoever because till this day is my absolute favorite destination to go to. But after that first trip that I did multiple other destinations, I was like, okay, I need to go back to Rome because I don't feel like I embarked it like I should have. So that's my advice. Make your bucket list, ask your travel advisor, and let them guide you.
Yeah, I totally agree. There are so many places. You will just stay with Italy, but you could say the same throughout Europe that you just can't do Rome in a day. You can't
No.
do Florence in a day. You can't do the Amalfi Coast in a day. And the other thing I share with people on a regular basis is European cities are beautiful by daytime. They are spectacular by nighttime. So you want to have that dinner late at night on on the street cafe. You want to take that time in the afternoon for either a coffee or a latte or,
Exactly.
yourself, a dessert, because you really want to sit and relax and really soak in the destination that you're in. So you
Exactly.
want to be rushing the whole.
And you know what came to mind, Rick, when you mentioned that in regards to experiencing it at date and at nighttime? It also made me think of how different the experiences are depending on the time of year. I've experienced Europe and certain the same destination, for example, Prague, which is I think maybe my second favorite destination. I've experienced it both in summer and in the winter. I loved both of them, but they were both completely different experiences because during the winter it was just like a magical wonderland destination, and then during the summer it was this adventure, like I traveled back in time sort of experience. So that kind of came to mind. So just because you went to, for example, Rome during the summer, don't say, okay, I'm not going to go during the winter time or because it will be a completely different experience. So that's something I usually suggest to most of my clients.
Absolutely, I agree. And so now I'm going to flip the question and talk about the experienced traveler, perhaps that has been to Europe many times, wants to go back again, but is looking for a destination that, might be different and they haven't tried before. Do you have one of those little secret places that you like to send people to that are very experienced travelers?
Well, I mean, there's so many, and that is one thing that we do very well when we partner with travel advisors. But a lot of people, when they think of Germany, they don't immediately think of Dresden.
Hmm.
And Dresden is a beautiful little city, and I'm sure you've heard of it because it is still popular. But for most people, that's not their go-to in Germany. And the main reason why I love it is because it's also just less than 2 hours away from Prague. So that is something that you can actually combine and experience two different destinations kind of at the same time, but it's gorgeous. The same with a lot of people don't think about like the Christmas markets going to Dresden. There's a lot of them in Germany, but Dresden is just, once I found it, and it was kind of like by mistake that I did find it because I really had not thought too much of Dresden. I usually think of Berlin and all those other destinations, but that's one that really stuck out with me, and I enjoyed it very much.
Sure. And I'm glad you mentioned the Christmas markets because I was one of those people that thought that the river cruise lines had invented the Christmas market, but they didn't. The Christmas markets have a long history. They've been going on long before river cruising was.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So when you go to Europe, you don't have to be on a river cruise to enjoy the Christmas markets. They are in every town's
Yes.
city center market square area. So get out and go visit those places.
Oh my goodness, gorgeous.
Exactly. And do you see anything new in European travel that's maybe coming in the next couple of years?
Um, well, what I can say at the top of my head is that we know that there's been a lot of changes in the past months. So one positive thing that I think will come out of this is that a lot of wholesalers, like Europe Express, that have partners in Europe, are working on a lot of more of those private experiences. So that's one thing that our team is extremely focused in partnering with those land suppliers to provide more of those private instead of like in groups, which we've always provided private and small group options. But now I think that's going to be more of a requested, more of that private experience just for maybe someone that feel more comfortable in that sense. So that's going to be really big and increasing in the past in the next couple of years. A lot of those private dinners, a lot of those private cooking classes, those private walks. So a lot of that is coming in the next couple of years. And I've heard
Exactly.
a lot of new Christmas markets are in the works as well. So since you mentioned that.
Sure. And what you just mentioned is actually a big positive. Sometimes we think about, well, maybe private's expensive or private is keeping me back from enjoying everything I want, but
Not at all.
experiences are kind of once in a lifetime bragging rights experiences
Exactly.
people can have in a country that somebody else didn't get because they are maybe having dinner in a private residence or going to an acclaimed chef's kitchen and actually making your dinner. And
Exactly.
so just a great experience.
And let's admit it, most of us, that's our favorite thing to do when we come back from Europe is the bragging, right? So
Absolutely. And so my final question for the day is more of a personal question. If you were not in travel and you've been in travel, looks like all your adult life, but if you weren't, what do you think you would be doing?
well, that's a funny question because travel was not originally what I intended to go to, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I actually started college studying radiology. So if I wouldn't have made that change, I was almost done with my degree actually when I made that big jump. So I guess if I wouldn't have made that jump, I would be in radiology, but I wouldn't be enjoying the wonders of traveling and the personal happiness that it brings to your life.
Sure. Well, I want to thank you so much for being with us here today. I've been talking to Carmen Gashnikov with Europe Express. My name is Rick Saltarelli. I'm with Salty Breeze Cruise Planners, and this has been this week's segment of Beyond Your Front Door. If you are looking to plan a trip to Europe, please give us a call at 888-332-8202. Thank you for being with us today, Carmen.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.